So, I'd like to introduce James Rawlinson, our lettings manager at IAD UK. If you're an estate agent who hasn't considered lettings as a way to generate long-term income, then today's episode is absolutely for you. It will change the way you think about the business. And James has got 10 years of experience under his belt with us, and he's seen the good, the bad and the ugly of lettings, and has worked with our self-employed agents to enable them to build this revenue line and service offering into their business over the past 3 years. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on the sofas. So look, let's kick things off. From your journey over the past 10 years, starting as junior lettings negotiator to becoming the lettings manager of the operation, what are some of the pivotal moments that have shaped your approach to property management over those years?
Well, I think when I started, I was pretty young. I was 19.
Yeah.
I was living at home with mum and dad. So I think there's like a handful of things that changed over that time, not just like work related, but life evolved.
Mm.
I've had two kids in that time. I've bought a flat, bought a house. So I've evolved and I've got life experience in that journey. So I've got a lot more life experience in those 10 years, but work-wise as well, obviously you go through the normal progression stages of junior, negotiator, senior role, and then to management. So you have those normal steps, but there's things in the lettings industry as well that's pushed us quite far ahead, like different legislation changes in 2019 and others recently that are coming up. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was probably the life changes for me, but obviously mixed with the work stuff as well. That's really pushed me ahead.
And how do you think that those life changes have affected how you deal with customers? Do you think that's maybe changed?
Yeah, I think when you're young, I think you don't really care as much. I don't know, but when you go through it yourself and you do the experience yourself, like you buy a property or you rent a property, not even just property, different things that you learn how to, care and talk to people in different ways. So that definitely has evolved a lot, and through those different things.
Can you tell me, you're 10 years in this industry, it's a bit of a bonkers industry, and tell me, is there a funny experience or
there's a lot. There's minimal things like locking yourself out of houses when you got 4 hours of viewings. Always make sure you carry the keys in your pocket. Inspections, call ahead before you go in. We've had some recently where we've been in, they've said, don't worry, we're going to be in. Or we're away on holiday, use your key. So we've gone in and they're working upstairs with their headphones and we scare the life out of them. We go up, but there's one that really sticks out. It was about really early on, it was about 9 years ago,
right,
when we had the old Stansted office and we had a bit of a dodgy tenant at the time. Wasn't paying his rent, and next door kept calling because they got loads of noise complaints. I won't go into the details of what the noises were, but when we went round, I know he'd been arrested shortly before we went, and there was sex toys on the beds. There was flush the toilet, use the bath as a toilet. There was beer bottles everywhere. It was just the worst thing you'd ever see. And what topped it off, it was managing director's sister-in-law's house. So it was really, really bad. But a few life lessons there, I think. And who you pick as a tenant, when you go and stuff. So that's probably the worst one.
They're all learnings, aren't they? Yeah. We do live in a crazy world and get an insight into people's lives and the way they live through the work. And like you said, there's the stories galore, I imagine, beyond that. So for self-employed agents, lots focus primarily on sales, but one of our unique offerings at IAD is that our agents have the ability to embrace lettings and property management. Why should a self-employed agent look at this seriously as an additional line to their business?
Monthly recurring income. Like you can I think out of the agents we have, only 25% really take it seriously. But when you look at the list, they've all got, I think the average now is 8 properties each in their portfolio. And the average could be £100 each per property, maybe more, maybe a bit less. But you can earn some really, really good, comfortable money every month. And then when you're at 8 properties, you're earning nearly there's some areas you're earning nearly a salary per month, and you can take your foot off the gas a bit, relax, focus on the things you want to do. Like I know all the agents are very sales focused, and you can go and do that after. Yeah. If you reach 10, even some of them are on 5 and earning good money, you can kind of relax a bit and focus on being a sales agent. Yeah. Winning business, because that's all you need to do.
Because you've got a bit of a baseline.
Yeah, you've got that baseline. You're kind of covered for, bills every month, and then you can really focus on what you do best. And most of the agents, that is winning business.
So there must be some misconceptions and thoughts around why they might not have taken that step already. What do you think they might be?
Scared. There's a lot to it, I think. Yeah. I think the lettings market's a bit of a minefield. Legislation is really scary for maybe agents and landlords. We hear it all the time. Winning the business. I think a lot of agents think that's a different process, but it's exactly the same. Yeah. And then that bit after as well, like the actual management of it. No one wants a tenant phoning them 24/7. They don't want to be dealing with contractors. They don't want to be dealing with rent coming in and out and paying contractors. So I think the whole process is quite scary, quite a lot. But then when we're there to take that burden off of them, you found your tenant, they've moved in, don't worry, you don't have to do anything else. We'll take that.
So yeah, let's get clear on that bit, because actually our setup is quite different for an agent, isn't it? So just talk us through what would be required of an agent to get involved in lettings, and where does their role start and finish, and what involvement do they have long term?
I think a good base knowledge of lettings is great. So obviously we do one-to-one training sessions with agents, can be as many as you like if we've got the time, just so you feel comfortable with how lettings works, legislation, etc. But I think what we tell agents a lot of the time that are a bit nervous to do any lettings business is, don't worry, it is exactly the same as doing a sales process. A few bits that are different, but we'll help you with that. So you win the business with a landlord, which works the same way. You do some checks, but we'll help you with that, such as gas safeties, electrical safeties, but we'll help you with the knowledge for that if you're not quite sure. Find a tenant, which is the same as finding a buyer, same kind of process. Tie up that deal, negotiate a little bit if needed, and then it really passes over to head office that take the administration part, making sure the property is compliant, landlord's compliant, and making that a real nice, smooth process.
So the agent's not involved in referencing, writing contracts, registering deposits.
A bit of in between, because they're the contact between, but we don't rely on them to work that. Yeah, as long as we get all the information we need, which will help you to get anyway, then that process switches to us and we'll take care of the rubbish bit. Really, the bit they don't want to do.
In an ongoing capacity, how much involvement should an agent be involved, or when are they required to be involved on an ongoing basis?
Flexible, really. It's a bit of a mixed bag with the agents. Some are quite hands-on and enjoy it, because there's a few examples of agents that go to networking groups that get a good rapport with some contractors and want to be the face. And they'll send the work to them. So some agents take the whole thing, but really the bottom line that you need to do is biannual inspections, or whatever you agree to inspect the property on with that landlord. If it's biannual, we'll tell you when it's due. Then all you've got to do is book it in, do the inspection. We've got something to facilitate you doing the inspection. Send us a report, and then we'll take care of the next bit after that. So other than inspecting, which is probably quite an important part anyway, it's nice to keep the relationship as the agent with the tenant And maybe with the landlord as well. Some agents will say, don't worry, James, I'll send the report so I can keep that relationship with the landlord.
Yeah, it maintains that they're the hero. I think that's really important, and because they are that contact, they're the connector. And I think there is a proactive management that can occur by being included in those inspections. So to be able to report to your landlord that there is a potential need for a redecoration in the next year or 2 years, or carpets are on their way out, they're 10 years old, we should probably start to plan some of this stuff in the future to make sure that the landlord's properties are maintained effectively, the tenants have a great experience and actually stay for a long time and continue to pay their rent, which is all that everybody really wants.
Yeah,
so
happy tenant, happy landlord, it's all great. You can have that monthly recurring income for quite a while. So
for agents that might be fearful of how they go about this, what are some of the tips that you would give to agents when they're first setting out on the lettings journey? Where would they go to find landlords, and what sort of things could they talk about?
Finding landlords is different to finding a house for sale. You can't go and door knock because not every landlord lives. There's not enough to knock at, but and pinpointing where they are and finding them is difficult. So you can blanket and do some touting via letters and stuff, but trying to get in front of a landlord direct and speak to them can be quite tricky. Some of the agents do really well at getting business, and Lee Merrick is probably the best, I think, at it, because he focuses so much on his groups that he's part of, the networking group. So you get so many local people go to it, and they're probably contractors or people that own a local business. There's such a mixed variety of people that want to share business together, because that's the idea of it. You can pick up business from there. They'll refer you to other people. So I think out of one client Lee's got, he's had like 3 or 4 referrals from it.
Fantastic.
So it's just, I think that's great. If you build your network really well, let everyone know what you're doing, that you do lettings.
Because the power of face-to-face.
I think a lot of agents don't talk about it enough. If you do it the same as you do sales, tell everyone that you do it, they'll give you the business.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. If people don't know, they won't ask. And it's up to you to ensure that people know that that's part of your service offering now as an agent. So looking ahead, how do you see the role of lettings evolving for self-employed agents?
I think they'll do more of it. It certainly needs to be that way, I think. And I think a lot of the agents now are focusing on it. The ones that are booking the calls with us and we're doing some one-to-one training with, they feel a lot more confident. I think that's the first stage, is just outlining what needs to be done to do well in lettings or in business. And I think then you can grow and do it and realise it's not that bad. It's quite good. But I think the percentage of our agents will start doing more. Because it is a huge market, and there's a lot out there. So
I see that. That's brilliant. Well, look, James, I'm so glad to get you on the sofa to be able to talk that through, because I think it's a really important part of self-employed agency, and I think it's a unique opportunity that we've got, which, as you said, some of our agents are applying and some of them aren't, and actually I'd love for more of them to get involved and make that part of their rounded property business. So thank you very much for coming in and joining me today, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.